Unfortunately for investigators, closure was nowhere to be found. For months, detectives continued to pore over every detail in Darlene's life in hopes of unearthing any new piece of evidence that might lead to her killer.
Season 2 of An Ice Cold Blood on the Oxygen Channel showcases the true crime stories of America's lustful killers, sex, money, and murder. And joining me right now is executive producer and host of An Ice Cold Blood, none other than Ice-T himself. Hey, Ice.
Hey, what's happening, Jeff?
This is such a total thrill. How are you today?
I'm all right, chilling, talking.
All right, Ice. Can I call you Ice? This is such a thrill for me. Generation X, I've been a big fan of yours my whole life. Such a thrill to talk to you today. Thank you so much.
That's what's up.
Season 2 of In Ice Cold Blood, true crime stories of America's lustful killers, sex, money, and murder. You seem like the perfect host. You're tailor-made to host this show.
Well, exactly. This is what happened. Oxygen had a show called Snapped, which some of your viewers might be familiar with, which is wives killing their husbands. So Coco used to watch the show. So I advise men, if their wife watches that show, watch it with her, just to look over every once in a while and check the temperature, So we got to meet the people from Oxygen, and they said, Ice, you would be perfect to host the show. So this show I'm not only the host, I'm the executive producer, and I wanted to hit the murder or the true crime scene show from the angle of how bizarre and how crazy these people are, instead of coming from the cops, how they solved it. More like, why would a person decide that this is a solution, and the thought that you'd get away with it? And most all our murders are based around sex and lust and money.
People knifed in their kitchen, sledgehammers to the head. This seems like a really crazy season for In Ice Cold Blood. Is there any particular stories that stood out for you?
Just craziness. I can't even really explain them because one is crazier than the other. When we're doing them, you're like, really? So it's kind of complicated for me to say it. It might sound corny, but you just got to watch the show. It's like trying to explain Black Mirror. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those shows where you just have to get into it and go for the ride. But trust me, your mind will be boggled with some of these people who think that this is a good idea.
I think one of the highlights of this series is the production values, the reenactments. They're so professional, and sometimes you think you're right there at the crime scene.
Yeah, well, that's the key with true crime, is you go and you reenact, which is great because you're hiring actors. You got people that are, working, and, you have a production team that puts these great reenactments together. Then you have to write a narrative, and then I kind of come in and I do my Rod Sterling impersonation or my Alfred Hitchcock impersonation, and you got a show.
Now, as executive producer of the show, tell me about the challenges of getting family and friends and even police officers to open up and be on camera for something like this. That has to be a challenge.
Well, this season we got 16 episodes. First season we did 8. This one we have 16. I'm willing to say you're going to get about 40% of these shows shot after, out of all the ones you go after, only 40% of the people, because you need so many people to be willing. You need the police to be willing. You need, relatives to be willing. You need people, and a lot of people don't want to revisit this. So it's not that easy. You just have to have a team that goes out and goes after the stories. So fortunately, I have a great one.
People have to remember that these things really happen. And even there's scenes of cops breaking down and sobbing. I mean, it's so emotional sometimes.
Well, that's the thing. You have to have a full array of people to tell the story. So sometimes we might go and get a show. You'll have only one person that wants to talk. Well, we don't have a show.
So as executive producer of the series, tell me about the process of which true crime stories that you would showcase for the show. Are there many arguments about which ones to choose?
No, you don't have arguments because I'm the boss.
Well, I wouldn't argue with the boss, especially if it's Ice-T. I'll tell you that.
No. I'm just making I'm not doing my Trump impression. This is this. We have a group of people, and we all, try to just find the best ones. I have a staff, a crew that really understands, the tone of In Ice Cold Blood versus some of the other shows. So ours has to usually have something to do with lust. It has something to do with sex, revenge, and that area, you know, sex, money, and murder.
All right, Ice, to wrap me up here, but I have one final question for you. I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan, and I know you were showcased in season 2 of the show, but it wasn't your voice. Now they're doing 70 new episodes, and I understand that the creators of the show, Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, really would love to have you come on the show and voice Rick and Morty. So are you available? Will you do it?
Well, you know, I've been on Rick and Morty, right? But I didn't get to voice it. Well, you know, the key to Hollywood is did you die? And the Ice character did not die. So it's nothing saying that he can't return or I can't come back. So, you know, when they were doing it, I think we were on tour last year and I didn't get a chance to voice it. But I'd love to, definitely. I just voiced a cartoon character for a big movie, but I can't speak on it yet. So, yeah, I'd love to do that stuff.
Cool. Well, make sure you do Rick and Morty. I think that would be so awesome. I laid the groundwork for it. Congratulations on season 2 of In Ice Cold Blood. And when you have a chance, come out and visit us in Las Vegas. We'd love to have you.
Hey, that's what's up. You know, Vegas is a stop at least once a year, but thanks for the love out there and watching Ice Cold Blood. I mean, but hey, got to have yourself together because the show's hardcore.
You can catch season 2 of In Ice Cold Blood on the Oxygen Channel, true crime stories of America's lustful killers, hosted by none other than Ice-T. Also, for more reviews and interviews, you can surf on over to my website at vegasfilmcritic.com. I'm Jeffrey K. Howard in Las Vegas. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.